been a part of doing the development, what Patrick will talk about in a bit, a function called the stock optimizer. They have, since the implementation of CRIBWISE, have 0% downtime in their machining for missing out of tool procurement and missing tools. Another important customer for us is Valmet in Sweden. They're using CRIBWISE now in 2 different departments, and they have been reducing time involved for purchasing and receiving goods and orders. And this is a win-win situation because they're operating with a huge number of consignment stock. But here is a win-win because the invoicing and control, both for Valmet and for the supplier, have really improved using CRIBWISE. Some highlights of the year: we have grown the customer base by 266% year to date. We have also expanded within the existing customers to allow us an increase of 220% in additional new licenses. We have a strong partnership portfolio where we have really been focusing on channel sales. We are supporting our partners, but also our customer and relationship on the market. To even go further on this journey, we have started to implement a PRM, partner relationship management system, where we are piloting right now. And this is with many different reasons and aspects, but we really need to systemize this in a good way. To be able to cope up with a high demand from you guys, we have also extended the team. So the team inside of CRIBWISE is right now 8 people. And then we have other supporting functions within DPA that will also allow us to grow even further next year. And by those words, I would like to hand over to Patrick.
Thank you, Joachim. Now we'll look into a little bit around what we have done during 2021 and also what is coming in 2022. We have lifted up a few things, but of course there are more that we have done. We will look into stock optimization today and update of our website, ID portal, help center and vertical lifts. And then also a little bit a glance of what is on the roadmap for 2020.
Patrick, before you start the section, I just want to remind the audience that in this webinar format, you're all muted, but if you have questions along the way, please paste them on the chat, and then we take it as we go, or we take it all in, at the end of the webinar. But feel free to post your questions and comments in the chat.
Good, thank you, Daisy. When it comes to stock optimization, in CRIBWISE we have had functionality around optimizing the stocks before. We have had what we call ABC classification, an automatic way of classifying items in A, B, and C classes based on the value of the consumption. And we have also then, based on the classifications, been able to set scheduling the frequency of ordering items on A and B and C items. We have also been able to run reports on stock levels and consumption, and also have slow-moving item reporting. But what we are now implementing and actually launching here for a few days back for all, we have been working with this feature for quite some time now. I would say over 1.5 years in total. But that is also then adjusting the order points and max levels. The main objective with this is then to reduce the manual work for purchasing or stock responsibles to manually change order parameters of maybe thousands of items, and purely do this in a few seconds instead of doing a lot of manual work. Of course, this should then reduce the capital tied up in tools by suggesting proper parameters, increase the rate of the inventory turnover, and a little bit take the guesswork out of tool inventory. And our target with this new function is then also to do equal or better optimization than an experienced user are making on a manual optimization. But of course then in seconds instead of maybe a week or two per year to go through them on the items manually. So, what is then the stock optimizer doing? Today, we basically have a function where we can look up on an evaluation period, meaning like 60, 80, 100 days back. And we can then evaluate how is the stock going up and down. In this leftmost picture here, down on the side, you can see how the stock level have been moving before we optimize the stock. And basically then we can set an evaluation period, we can set a service level. By the service level, we're meaning how much time out of a certain number of days should we have available items in stock. In this case, we have set like 98%. That means in average then, if you have 100 days, there will be items in the stock 98 days, but 2 days could get down to 0. Of course, you can set this up to 100% as well, but we really believe that some items is critical. Of course, then you should have 100% and also maybe safety stock, but others are maybe not that critical. We also have a function now to include safety stock. And basically what this is doing, it's looking on the lead time of the items. So looking on the lead time, the lead time can vary on different orders. And if you're including safety stock, it will also counter on the spread of the lead times and also the spread of the consignment or consumption of the item. The consumption here is then how many items are picked per week, for instance. So maybe in some items there are very high consumption in 1 week and maybe none for other weeks. And then in consideration as well, we're looking on the order frequency. So we, of course, calculate the lead time, but also then how frequent are we ordering these items. And basically what this optimizer is doing then is proposing new order parameters, order point, and the max point. And it can also then include a safety stock into this. And of course, you can review the proposals before and you can adjust the proposal and then you can implement the proposal. You will also then see a graph on how it will look on the historical pick consumption if we change the parameters to these new values. You can also read more about this function in our help center, which is available, and that's another topic we will come into. So, other things and highlights we have done during this year as well is expanding our website. So if you go to our landing page, CRIBWISE.com, today we have launched a blog where you can find case studies from customers and other interesting information. And we have also added Swedish as the language to the portal. We have also linked now the ID portal and also a help center into our website. We will come into the later two parts later on during this session. This year we have also posted or created LinkedIn and YouTube channels for CRIBWISE, where we also post interesting news and happenings that are happening around CRIBWISE and promotion videos and so forth. So we would be happy if everyone joined in and followed us on CRIBWISE and also shared sub-posts from our channels. ID portal is then also a thing we launched in, I think it was September, October this year. And basically, we created this ID portal for the collaboration. You will find our ID portal on ids.cribwise.com, or it's also now linked from our cribwise.com portal. When you're entering the site first time, you will basically see a blank screen and you will need to sign up to get access to the content on the portal. When logging in, you will see all others' IDs, and you can search by searching in text fields, search by your own votes or your own IDs, and you can also search through category trees. And here the interesting part is then you can subscribe to others' IDs, you can also comment them, and you can vote on them. And this is all then interlinked to our application that is for planning of the product as such. So we basically can have a connection when we are moving things into production and actually deploying things. It will automatically give you a notification if you're subscribing to a ID you have placed in the portal.
Patrick, we have a question here from the audience in regards to the idea portal. Rasmus is asking, can anyone sign up for ideas.cribwise.com like customers, or do you have to work for Sandvik?
Today, this is fully open, so anyone can sign in and create IDs. Right now, we have a set of domain names that can see all other IDs. So IDs coming from users, not on like Sandvik, Secotools, Valter, and all our distributors and partners, they will only see public IDs. We will see and review if this will be how we do it continuously, but some limitation today.
Thanks, Patrick.
Of course, creating IDs as well. When you're doing that and start typing, you will also get up proposals of other IDs that already exist in the system. So this is also a feature function in this to maybe not just continue to write IDs, but actually review IDs and maybe comment others' IDs and vote for them as well to collaborate and work with the new IDs. Another thing is then Help Center. Now this is actually launched just yesterday. Here we have now created a new Help Center. This is of course linked on our homepage, and the direct link for it, this is cribwise.com/helpcenter. What you can do here is basically we have a lot of articles and classified in different categories like release notes, admin portal, shop floor integration, and vending machines. And everything you can find here is basically based on our previous manuals on the admin portal, on the shop floor interface, and also what you could find earlier in Topdesk relates to release notes. So this is now public available information. What we see here is that this is much easier to search, much easier to find what you're out for. And this will basically replace our old PDF manuals that we have had in Topdesk that you can download and review. From this Help Center as well, we have links to the ID portal, but now also onto Topdesk, that is our request handling system. Another thing is then vertical lifts. During this year, we implemented a integration with Kardex remstar, and we can control their full portfolio, basically, both the Kardex Megamat and Shuttle XP. And I think with doing this, we're also making a statement that we're not only just a vending provider, but actually a true shop floor logistic manager. Kardex remstar is one of the largest providers of vertical storage lifts, and we believe that this is a very good complement. What should be mentioned here as well is that we are not actually reselling Kardex. This is actually a purely connection through their integration platform. So this needs to be a solution that is already purchased by the customer. So going a little bit into what is coming in 2022, and what we see is areas that we will focus on is first of all integration. We believe and strongly believe that integrations will be a key coming for all products within this area, and we see integrations in three different ways, and we really would like to get into more like ready-to-use integrations. So predefined with maybe some user configuration, but really simple to activate, simple to use, and of course here aiming for things that creates value for the customers. But also in this integration platform, we believe that we will need to have the capability to do custom integrations to customers, to basically tweak output formats or tweak ways of integration, and that is also a capability that we see we will need to come. And the third thing we see that we will build on this integration platform as well is then a build to core, basically having a developer portal where other parties can connect and have a full availability to events and posts and whatever we need to build an integration from another system into CRIBWISE. Another thing that will come during Q1 next year is implementation of currency handling. And here we are talking about basically having one system currency as we're having today, but also be able then to manage currency per vendor, so that we have a currency conversion and also some services to get currency updates, but of course also be able to do manual currency settings on the customer level. And the third thing we of course also see here is an update of our user experience. We have quite a lot of feedback today on user experience, and this goes around searching of objects, items, orders, simpler navigation. This could be like double-clicking, multi-select, a lot of things around how we navigate, but also more adopted fields and more user-defined columns and sizes of columns based on what your interests are in different views. And also some better adoption to different screen resolutions. So these are three typical things that we see coming for 2022, and of course we have a ID portal as well packed with stuff, so we are picking and choosing from there. So over to you, maybe Tacy, on questions. I don't know if there is any.
Yeah, we have a few questions from the audience. You can go to next slide, Patrick. So if the audience has any other questions, please just feel free to write them in the chat. The first one we have is from Patrick Nellinger. He wants to ask to Joachim, 266% increase of customers seems to be very much. What are the absolute numbers of customers and growth?
Yeah, it's a bit sensitive data to share in a public webinar like this. Of course, we're coming from like a low number, but yeah, we can talk about that offline from this webinar. But yeah, the growth has been tremendously high. And for some month here, we have increased the customer base by 1 new customer per working day through a month, and so on. So we have really seen a tremendous growth, especially now after the summer.
Thanks, Joachim. We have another question from Shadi, and it's about the idea portal, Patrick. She wants to know, or this person wants to know, how fast can these ideas be implemented when vital for customers or the sales process? And also, just like to add, how does the priority list of ideas work? For example, if a question or idea is being proposed, for example, by all markets multiple times over a longer time span, like 5 years, something like My Pages or CRIBWISE, for example. She asks.
Yeah, I mean, it's not an easy answer on how long the lead time is. For sure, there are things in our, not only in our ID portal, but requested in Topdesk earlier that has been there for quite some long time. And I think it will continue to do this. What is interesting with the ID portal, I think it's a very good tool also in the back end to rate stuff. You could also get ratings out of votings. You could get ratings out of complexity and how much value it can generate to the customer. So for us, it's also a very interesting tool out of a priority perspective, without really saying that it takes 1 month for an ID to implementation. It will be case to case, of course.
Thanks, Patrick. Another question around stock optimization. How long do I need to run stock optimization before getting a result?
In basic, the stock optimization you will need history data for sure, and a limitation you have is that you need at least 3 purchases during the evaluation period, and you need at least 15 days with at least 1 pick during the evaluation period. So, I mean, the shortest period we can run is 30 days, but then also these prerequisites needs to be in place. So I would recommend maybe like a quarter or a half a year as the minimum, I would say. But you can run shorter for sure.
Thanks, Patrick. At the moment, we don't have any other questions from the audience, but in the last slide of this presentation, you see our contact details, our email, and feel free to submit your questions and comments via the email address or via our website. I'll hand over to Joachim for the closing notes.
Yes, thank you, Tacey. Thank you, Patrick. And thank you all for joining this webinar, and thanks for giving us 30 minutes of your valuable time. We would like to continue to do this type of webinar, so feel free, like Tacey said, to contact us on the email address down here, contact@cribwise.com, to give some feedback around the format of a webinar like this. Also, if there are specific tasks or areas you would like us to talk more about. But yeah, if there are no other questions, I would like to wish you a wonderful Christmas, because Christmas is less than a month around the corner, and a Happy New Year, and see you all in 2022. Thanks all. Have a great day, a great evening, and talk to you soon.
Thank you. Bye.
Ciao.